Good evening, cousin. All right. So we were discussing about crude, right? On in our last class. Okay. So let's see. Let's open up a report. Futures, say crude oil, and okay. Let's say we'll refer to our historical data. Okay. And let's take the data when crude oil was rather falling than rising. Okay. So what I'm doing is let me take say 19th of August 2016, or shall I take let's take the early say 2017. Okay. So let's take February 2017 data. Okay. So when we take February 2017 data, the last contract expired on 19th of January 2017, right? So let's take 2017. What was the date with January? 19th of January, right? See, prior to February, it was a 19th January contract, right? So it expired on 19th. So I'm picking up the data from 20th January 2017 till the end of February, right? So till the last day of whatever was the last day of February. Okay, so we'll try to spot something in this. Okay, so February 17th. So let me pick up 18th. Show. Okay, so do you think this is the February data?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll quickly download this so that we can play around with this. So I will download it as an Excel sheet. So here we go. Okay, so this is the last month. I'm sorry, sometime in last year in the month of February. So this is how the February contract traded. Okay, so this was the first day when the contract was trading, and this is how it was trading throughout. And do you see here price in the range of some 35, 3600 or so, correct? Right. So if you take it from here, because it's a reverse report actually. So do you see that it was somewhere around 3600, and it was going to the range of 3500, right? Okay. So it was actually falling, if you see, correct? So now let's see. So this was the first day of this thing. So what I'll do is let me put a filter. So let me put a filter. Okay. And let's say, can we do it from, okay, no, it's not working. Control C. Right, let's see. 20th, okay, 1st of February. Okay, so did the entire report reverse, correct? So it opened at around 3750, and this month the closing was around 3570. Do you see this? This is where it opened, and this is where it closed. So does it seem to be a kind of a doji? It
Yes,
was
sir.
the entire month. It was a 10 rupee range, right? So actually, crude did nothing in the month of February, correct? So let's have a look at it. So it could be a very, very good example because it didn't move. Actually, it didn't move. So we will never know whether it's going to move or not move. But so let's take a good example that it is not moving. We know that. So let's try to spot things around it. Okay. So here is the open interest. Okay, and whatever is the volume we can see in lots, and whatever we see as the open interest we can see over here, correct? So the first day crude opened and it closed higher, correct? So 35.70 it opened, and 36.35 is what it closed, correct? So it made a high of 36.64, and it made a low of 35.64, right? And this was the open interest on this particular day. So this was the first day, if you look at it, of crude. Now on the very next day, uh, it's opening at around 36.25. So is it opening above or below any of the vitals?
No.
No. So which means that it was quite stable, and there was not much of movement in the international market after our markets have closed, right? So during that 12-hour window when our market is not operating, Brent and NYMEX is still operating, right? Guys, do you know the pattern of the international market of commodities?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, in the international market of commodities, markets open on Monday and they directly close on Friday. In between, it doesn't close. Okay. So, starting when the trading happens, when it starts on Monday, unless there is a holiday in between during the week, it will not close. It will close only on Friday night. Then Saturday, Sunday, it's a holiday, right? Again, it will start opening trading on Monday, and it will go all the way till Friday. So midnight, like during the night, during the day, it is all open. Anybody can buy and sell commodities at any point in time. Okay, so when our commodity market, say MCX is the commodities market that we trade in. There is another commodities market, but the volume, if you compare, it is better in case of MCX. Though both the markets are not very matured, but still. Okay, so when our markets are shut in the night, the international commodity is still trading. So if you talk about crude, or if you talk about any of the metals, you talk about natural gas, etc., you will find that it is still trading. It doesn't close at all. Okay, and let me see if I can show you this. Okay, let's see. Can I pop this out? Okay. Okay, let's say this is the NYMEX chart. Okay, so this is the WTI crude oil. Okay, and this is the NYMEX chart trading in the international market. And what you see over here is all this is dollar price. Can you see this? Right? It is all dollar price. Okay, so if you look at this particular chart, okay, let's see. At the bottom, at the very bottom, do you see there is a time which is coming like 19th of September, 2200 hours. Can you see that at the bottom where
Yes, sir.
this crosshair is coming? At the bottom you will see 19 September 2200. Okay, and you can see here it is a UTC timing. Okay, and currently it is 13:42:06:07, whatever it is happening. Okay, right. So you can see this timing over here. All right. So it is basically the international clock which is running. Okay, it's a European clock. Okay, now if you look at this, do you see here 2300 in the night? So it is 2300, 11 o'clock in the night. Do you see 00, which means it
Yes,
is
sir.
midnight?
Midnight.
1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. Again, do you see 2300, 000, and so on? Yes or no?
Sir.
Correct? Do you see here, over here, look at the crosshair at the bottom. Do you see 16 September 2200?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thereafter, 2300, right? 0 on 17
Yes,
September,
sir.
100, and so on. Correct? So
Yes, sir.
2200 on 16th, 2300, and then kept on going, right? If you look at it, 16th of September was a Sunday. Do you see this?
Yes, sir. For us.
Okay. So let's see. So 2200 over here is from where we see a continuous chart. Okay. And prior to that, if you look at it, do you see 14th September 2000? Yeah, 8 p.m.
Yes, sir.
What was 14th of September? It was Friday.
Yes, sir.
Correct? And thereafter, it was continuously working. There was no break actually in between. If you look at it, it was a continuous market. Okay. Now, do you understand? If it is a continuous market, it will have impact on this price, right? So, say for example, say for example, when here the market closed a day before, and then it opened here at 5 p.m. in the evening, there was something that might have happened during this time, right? In the international commodities, which is crude oil.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the
Yes, sir.
NYMEX and the Brent might have already moved, correct? So
Yes, sir.
that is the reason that in case of the commodities market, it is quite normal that if the commodity gets a little, in demand in terms of buying or selling or whatever. See, on this day, did it close here and then it opened next day morning over here, right? So during these 12 hours, when our market was not operating, the international market was operating, right? So this was 12th and this is 13th, right? So this is 12th, right? So as per the international timings, maybe by the time our markets were shutting down, it would have been around 2000 over here, correct? So 2000 and by the time our markets opened on the next day, do you see there was a fall in between 12th and 13th, right? By the time, say, this 12 hour might have happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So the price was somewhere here, correct? So when the market was closing, it was up. But when the market opened the next day, it was down somewhere. Do you see the reflection here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please remember that when you are working with the international commodities, in the international market, they have a procedure that the commodities market never closes. So it opens on a Monday and it goes on till next Friday. Okay. So it actually operates for the complete 5 days unless there is a holiday in between. If the US market is shut, then the NYMEX will not work. And if the say the UK markets are shut, so it's say the Brent crude will not trade. Okay, so the impact will also happen on our commodities. Now, the second correlation that we have with crude oil. Okay, I'm currently talking about crude oil or international commodities is um, when I open this up, right? And what is the price? Like, what is the currency in which it is trading?
Dollar.
Dollar. And what is the currency in which this is trading?
In
Hmm? Rupees, right?
rupees.
So this is all rupees, right? And this is all dollars, correct? Now tell me something. A $70 price, say for example, a $70 on 12th, and the same $70 on on say 13th, and the same $70 on 14th can be different. It can be slightly cheaper or it can be slightly expensive. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
because there would be some exchange rate which will work as far as the dollar price to INR price is concerned. Okay, so if the dollar gets expensive, will the oil in rupee will also get expensive?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so same way, if the dollar starts falling, do you think that by default the price of oil would be slightly cheaper in the Indian market when it will be trading?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please remember this will also impact. Okay, so what did I tell you? There are two impacts. What are those? The first one, impact number one is that uh, the commodities markets are rolling internationally. So in international markets is rolling. It doesn't sleep, right? Except for the holidays or weekends, correct? And the second thing is that in the international market, we are trading in dollars, and in our domestic market, in our commodities market, we are trading in INR. So this USD to INR will be impact number two. Is this understood? Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, on any time, okay, if say the USD gets literally very expensive, okay, it gets really, really very expensive vis-a-vis like whatever is happening in the this market. Let's look at it. So this is USD INR pair, right? So if we look at the USD INR pair, and let me increase this thing. See, if you look at the USD INR pair, there is a sharp increase, right, over here.
Yes, sir.
So which is clearly visible. So somewhere closer to say end of August, towards this what you call mid of September. Okay, it was a really sharp movement from say 70 rupees to almost 72 or 73 rupees, right? So if we look at this, it is a 3 rupee move, okay, which started happening from end of August onwards. So this will also have an additional impact on the crude prices. Okay, so whatever you see from here, okay, it was end of this thing, no, and it was going up till mid of September, right? Do you see the similar sort of a pattern over here? Okay, because in the, say in the international market, the crude is falling over here. Okay, but still the dollar rupee is expensive. Correct. So if the dollar rupee is expensive and in the international market you see that okay, dollar came down from say $70 to say $65. So it's a fall of $5, correct? Right? But in our Indian markets, you might not see a direct $5 fall. You might see a relative $4 fall or $3.50 fall. And this I'm telling you because the dollar also got expensive, right? So no matter it is falling, it will fall. But the intensity of fall might not be that severe because the exchange rate is also working this out, is also trying to balance this out. Okay. Now tell me something. If in the international market, the crude as well as the dollar both get weak, will it have a more downside impact on the Indian market?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because you will be paying less rupees to buy a dollar, right? Plus the crude
Yes.
oil is weak, correct? So say for example, this is a daily chart, right? This is also a daily chart of say USD. Okay. Now let's try to understand this. Let's see. So this is 12th of September, right?
Yes, sir.
So if this is 12th of September, let's see where is 12th of September on crude. Now 12th of September is this.
Yes.
Do you see this is also red? So it has kind of have fallen. It has gotten weak. Agreed?
Yes.
This has also gotten weak. Do you see this? Did it correct in the Indian markets?
Yes.
Okay. So so there are correlations which will keep working. Okay. So if something is expensive, okay, if it is going expensive, right? If USD is also expensive and crude is also expensive fundamentally, then in our market the price might be increasing more than so if you will look at the relative terms, okay, you will you will have to pay more rupees to buy the dollar, right? So say earlier
Yes, sir.
you were paying only 70 rupees to buy $1. Now you are paying 70 rupee 20 paisa to buy another dollar. Correct. So there is a 20 paisa difference which has already come, right? So the crude at a $70 international price is already 20 paisa more expensive in India. Okay. And then it will depend on the trend of the crude that how is it going to work it out. Okay, so if there is a uptrend in the USD INR pair, uh, then it is likely that the up days of crude would be more up for us, and if there is a weakening in the USD INR, the down days would be more down for us. Okay, and the sideways, it will balance it out. Okay, now say for example, how many units are you buying in one lot? You are buying 100 units, correct?
Sure.
Okay. Now, say for example, if it is you are buying only one lot per lot, right? So if you are buying per lot and there is a difference of 20 paisa that comes in the USD INR pair, you will have to multiply it by 100. So do you think per lot there will already be a difference of 20 rupees in our price? Okay. So in our markets, the crude oil would be uh, more expensive compared to US. It will be further expensive by another 20 rupees. So whatever is $70 is there, but since the dollar also increased by 20 paisa, so per unit will start costing 20 rupees more in our markets. Okay, so these kind of correlations, these kind of things will always be there. Okay, so that is the reason the stop loss in case of futures of these international commodities would be slightly different in the sense that it will be more deeper when you are trading with international commodities. All right, now let's go back to this. Okay, so let's now try to understand. So on this day, did it open below or above the vitals?
Sure.
It did not. Okay, so there was some sort of a open interest or whatever has happened over here. Okay, so the next day this trades and it closes say at 36.16, which is in between this. More or less it is sideways, right? So it didn't do anything. So it didn't move. It was pretty much in between the low and the high. And if you look at it, is this a inside candle completely? It didn't touch the high or it didn't touch the low, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's see. And on this day, the open interest, anyways, is immaterial, but the open interest also fell. Now, the next day it is opening at 36.21. Okay. And when it is opening at 36.21, it is opening sideways, right? It is opening in between the high and the low of yesterday, the inside candle, right? And
Yes.
then do you think it tried breaking the high or low, whatever?
Yes.
Okay, so this day it touched the high, but this was anyways a inside candle. Okay, but now it corrected itself, so it made a candle which is not an inside candle. So it tried going up. Okay, and then finally did it come back and close?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Okay.
so during the entire day of trading, okay, and it closed finally above 36.36, correct? So it broke out and it closed above 36 and 36. Okay, now when this particular thing happened, if you look at it, when this particular thing happened, did the open interest fall?
Yes.
Okay, so it is going negative, so it fell, the open interest fell, and the price moved up and it closed above the high. Okay, now let's try and try to correlate. Please remember, in the futures market, you first need a seller and then a buyer. Okay, because
Yes.
futures is a
Yes.
hedging tool. Okay, and I will explain you this hedging part. What happens is, say for example, why this futures contracts are used. Now, say for example, there's a company, say DHFL, this DHL or Blue Dart, correct? And they do courier service, right?
Yes, sir.
When they do courier service, they are using transportation, right? Okay, so they'll be using a lot of fuel. Okay, now say they are dependent on oil, whether diesel or petrol, it doesn't matter, but they're dependent on oil. So if the crude gets expensive or cheaper, both the diesel and the petrol prices will fall, right? It's
Yes.
only in our country that the diesel and the petrol prices are different, but most of the developed countries, you don't, diesel and petrol are equally priced. There's no difference, except for a few cents, maybe here and there. But the price of diesel and the price of petrol is same. There's no difference. Okay, so they are using ground transportation. So when they are using ground transportation, they are using a lot of fuel. Okay, now let's say if they're a transport company, okay, and they are using, say for example, 100 barrel or say 100 barrels of fuel. Okay, and today say the price of every barrel, okay, I'm just hypothetically saying, okay, say every barrel price of fuel is say 400 rupees. Okay, then how much are they spending? This into this, correct?
Yes.
40,000 rupees, right? Now imagine that now there this 100 barrel consumption. Okay, so this is nothing but consumption. Okay, and this is nothing but cost, correct? So this is consumption and this is cost. Now their consumption is not going to change much, right? More or less, they'll be using what they are using, correct? Now, say for example, owing to price fluctuations in the market, uh, the price of per barrel, which is 40 rupees, 400 rupees, goes to 410 rupees, right? So their consumption is still 100. So what will be their overall cost? This multiply by this. Did their cost increase?
Yes, sir.
Now say they were charging us 5 rupees per courier, per local courier. They will not increase it to 6 rupees immediately, right?
Yes.
Okay, it will take some time to actually increase it from 5 rupees to 6 rupees or 7 rupees. Okay, but are their margins falling? Did their margin fall by 1000 rupees straight away?
Yes.
Okay, now imagine about airlines company, Air India, Indigo, SpiceJet. They're one of the very major consumption is fuel, right?
Yes.
One of the major consumption is fuel, correct? So are you able to correlate that when the fuel when the this crude price was going down, okay, when the crude prices or the oil prices were going down, they were all flourishing, right? They started to flourish a lot, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and when the fuel prices started going up, a lot of these companies started having problems in their balance sheets, correct? Why? Because whatever they are operating, their consumption is fixed. So if they are flying a flight from Delhi to Bangalore, it's going to use whatever oil it is going to use, right? It doesn't matter, what is the price of the fuel. So whatever it is using, it is using. Now, if they were spending, say, 400 rupees per unit, and then if they have to start spending, say, 650 rupees per unit, do you see there would be a impact on their margins, right? Now, the flight ticket, which is say 3000 rupees over here, or say 5000 rupees over here, They cannot increase it immediately to become say 7,500 rupees, right? Because there is also competitive pressure. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it has the capability of eating into the margins of the company, right? So that is where these futures contracts are used. Okay, what they will do is they know that we are going to consume this. They are going to consume these many barrels or this many liters or whatever quantity of fuel. Correct? They are anyways going to use
Yes.
it. Now,
Yes.
what they will do is whatever is their usage or consumption, they will try to hedge it. That, say for example, in both the cases, if the oil price goes down, they start making greater margins, right? Because their cost will also go down, right? So their margins would be healthier. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Margins will become healthy because they will be spending less, so there would be more money in their balance sheet. The same way, if the oil price starts moving up, they will start making less margins because their cost will go up, right?
Yes.
They will use these kind of futures contracts to hedge their margins. Now, what they will do is whatever is their consumption and as much they want to hedge, they will create a futures contract and they will sell it in the market, irrespective of what is the price. Okay. Now, say for example, if the current price is say 400 rupees, okay, they will sell it at 400 rupees. Now, their consumption is 100, they will sell it at 400. Now, say for example, they sold 100 equivalent to 100 consumption of futures contract at 400 rupees, right? And say at the end of the month the fuel price from 400 it went to 650 rupees, so it is an increase of 250, right? So on when they sold these futures contract, will they not make losses? Yes or no? Per unit they will start making a loss of 250 rupees, right? They sold at 400 and when the month is closing the price is 650, so will they not make a loss of 250 rupees per unit on the future selling?
Yes.
They will, right?
Yes.
Because the price has
Yes.
increased, but at the same time will they not gain in the margin here? Are they not spending less? Yes or no?
Yes.
See, the oil price went up by 250 rupees per unit, but also at the same time, okay, and they have sold something, right? If they have sold something, they started making a loss, correct? But also at the same time, since the oil price went up, they also started saving 250 rupees per unit in their this thing also, na, operations cost.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
more or less, what will happen? Net it will zero out, right? It will try to zero out.
Yes.
Okay. So futures contracts are ideally used for this kind of a hedging by the people or by the companies which use these commodities as their backbone of the business. Make sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Now assume McDonald's. Okay. Now say McDonald's sells a lot of fried stuff, right? Or say KFC, they sell a lot of fried stuff, right, in the market. So oil is going to be one of the very major commodities that they use, right? Yes or no? And
Yes, sir.
let's assume that they use soybean oil. Okay. Now, when they use soybean oil, and if the soybean oil gets expensive by 20 rupees per liter, is it not going to impact their margins? Because whatever burger or whatever they are selling, they cannot increase the price every day or reduce the price every day, right? So if they have said that this burger costs around say 120 rupees, it is going to stay 120 rupees for a very long period of time, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
But the ingredients in that, now one of the major ingredients we spotted is say the soybean oil, which they use to fry stuff and do all that. That increased 20 rupees a liter. So that's going to impact their margins, right?
Yes.
So they can also do hedging in the soybean oil futures contract. Okay. Now it depends on the scale of the business. Like in case of aviations, I told you, it's a big business, right? Correct? It's a big business. Barrels and barrels of fuel will be used, correct? So they will have to hedge it. They don't have a choice. Okay. Now, say IT companies. IT companies are heavily dependent on the dollar price. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, say they made a contract with a company which is worth, say, $500 million. Okay. Now, when they did it, they are going to work this out from India, say, for example. So it is a $500 million kind of a deal, okay, which they are going to make in this year, $500 million, and they are going to operate from India. Now, say the price of a dollar is 70 rupees, correct? And they did
Yes.
all their costings that okay, this 500 million is okay based on the 70 rupees price, correct? Now, if suddenly the dollar price goes to $50, 50 rupees, owing to some reason, remember 2008, 2007, dollar was below 30 rupees. It was almost 20 rupees at that time, if you remember. Okay, 20 रुपए का एक डॉलर हो गया था उस समय, 20 to 25 rupees or so. Okay. And it came down all the way from 50 rupees to that level. Okay. Will they not start having problems if this kind of a thing happens? So what they will try to do is they will try to hedge the dollar INR pair. Okay. In order to save themselves from a big disaster that might happen if the dollar price goes to say 30 rupees. Still, it will not impact them. Okay. And how will they do it? They will do it by what? Buying a contract or selling a contract?
Selling a contract.
Always selling a contract. They will never buy a contract. Okay. In their entire life in the hedging, nobody buys a contract. In hedging, everybody sells a contract. Okay. Because whatever they are selling, they are not trading, they are hedging. Okay. Now, is it clear that a sell contract will be the inception of anything in futures? Okay, so first the seller will come and then the buyer will come. Is this point clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, if the open interest increases, if suddenly the open interest increases, okay, what will it induce in your mind? Is selling happening? Is buying happening?
Selling.
Selling is more. Okay, like in case of deliverables, we learned in the cash market, whenever the deliverable quantity is more, it is actually a selling. It is not buying, right? Because the deliverable quantity increases only when a existing investor decides to sell his shares in the market. Make sense? It is identical. Okay. Now on this day, we saw that it went above and it closed, right?
Yes.
Price went above and it closed above this level. Now on this particular day when this happened, guys, just give me 1 second. Apologies. Okay. So now when this went and it closed above this level, did the open interest reduce or increase?
Reduced.
It reduced. Now, if it is reducing, uh, is the selling more?
Yes.
Is the selling more or buying more?
No, sir. Buying more.
Buying more. Okay. So the open interest fell and it went up. The price went up. Understood? So it is indicating that buying has happened. It seems to be, right? That is why
Yes.
the contracts have been covered. It has reduced. So the selling has reduced, correct? So
Yes.
on this particular day, it went above and it closed above the high with the fall of the open interest. So it is telling us, okay, fine. It seems that there is some sort of a buying which has come over here. So very good, fantastic. Now the next day, let's see. It opened at 36.31, correct? Now,
Yes, sir.
if it has to go up, at least it should be a higher high, higher low formation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So wherever it is opening, and if we look at it, this low on, see, this day, it went above this level, right? It went above this level, correct? And it was telling us that there is some sort of a buying maybe which has happened, correct? Right? Now,
Yes.
does these become the support levels just by this thing? If I look at these two lows, 35.75 and 36.02, does this work as support? Yes, no, maybe. Was this a breakout? Guys, are you able to understand? I'm sorry, I cannot show you this on the chart because historical charts are not available. We can only do it on the reports. Did it break out and close above this with a fall in open interest? Is it a buying
Yes.
situation, right? It's a buying
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
Now, if it is a buying
Yes.
situation, these two lows, the one which is buying out, this low and this low, yesterday's low, which is a higher low and a higher high. Tell me something, will these two lows act as support by default?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If that is the case, on this day, it is opening at 36.31, correct? Is it below the low of both the days?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now it is below the low of both the days. Now if for some reason, some fluctuation, if it tries to go towards this 3602, okay, and it doesn't fall below 75, okay, and the price tries to revert back, is it a situation where it's a buy? Yes or no? Okay, very good. Now on this day 3631 it opened, right? When it opened 3631, it went up to this low 3602. Where did it
Yes,
close?
sir. 3629.
3621. Next day it is opening at around 3645, right? Okay, it is
Yes,
opening around 3645, right? When it is opening around 3645, okay, if you look at it, there is a support around 3588, correct? It has already
yes,
built a support around 3588, and on this day when it came down, it went back and it closed around 3600, right?
yes,
Just try to visualize this. On this day it went below 3600, 3602, and it came back and it closed at 3602, above 3602, right? There was some sort of an
yes,
indication of buying which had happened, right? The next day when it is opening, it goes below 3602. Was this not a support yesterday? This 3602, was that not a support yesterday? Because it went below this 3602 and it closed above 3602, right?
the support, sir. Yes,
Okay, so this seems to be a support, right? When it seems to be a support, on this day when the price is trying to say breach out at 3592, okay, or it is trying to breach out 3648 on the upside, sorry, 3658 on the upside, okay, will it become a sort of a buying opportunity for you? Yes or no?
yes,
Okay, I'm just trying to visually expect what could happen now. Um, so this was one of the important days, right? Now the other important days are also happening right now. On this day, did the selling increase? The 7957, 8110. Did the selling increase?
yes, sir.
It increased. Okay. If the selling increased, did it break the low and close of previous day? It did not,
No,
right? It did not close. Next day again the selling increased. Correct? When the selling increased, did it close below the low of yesterday?
no, sir.
It did not. Again the selling increased. Did it close below the low of yesterday?
Sir.
It did, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay. So now it closed below the low of yesterday. And on this day, there is also a lower low, lower high, and a lower low formation, obviously. On the next day, is it a lower low, lower high? So it's a lower high, lower low, correct?
lower. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the pattern is sort of getting confirmed that okay, it has gotten into a downtrend, which didn't happen over here. It has gotten into a downtrend, right? Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if it is getting into a downtrend on the next day, do you see it tried going above 3622?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When it went above 3622 on this day, was it able to close at 3622?
No, sir.
It was not able to close above 36.22. Now, when this price broke the resistance, see over here it has broken the support, right? Okay,
Yes, sir.
over here if you look at it, it has broken the support. When it is breaking the resistance now, on the first day I told you crude as a commodity is very sensitive towards high and lows. It's quite sensitive to highs and lows. Okay. Now on this day when it went above 36.28, the trend is down as confirmed. Is there a possibility that it will sell off? Ayana,
Yes, sir.
did it actually sell off? It came down. It closed at about 35.85. Correct? End of the
Yes,
day,
sir.
it is closing down. Right? Now look at the trend here. Is it a higher high, higher low?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if it is a higher high, higher low, then it is getting into an uptrend, that means, right? Okay. Now when it is getting into an uptrend, the open interest has also increased, right? Did it close? See, the open interest has increased. Did it close below the low? It did not, right? So doesn't seem to be getting into a trend, right? Now on the next day, okay, what is the possibility? What comes to your mind? If it is a higher high, higher low, it is not even closing below this. What comes to your mind? Should it go up? Should it go down?
Go up.
It should go up. Did it go up? Did it break the high? Just from the trend of it. Okay. Now on this day, it is going up, right? It went up. And did it close above the high? Did it close above the
Not,
high? It did not, right?
not,
So it didn't get into a complete uptrend, right? It's not a full uptrend if we look at it, though the open interest has reduced, okay? But it is not getting into a complete uptrend. We have already made a trade which is okay, but is it getting into an uptrend? The answer is no. Otherwise, it should have at least closed above this, right? It should not have come down and closed below it, which means there is some problem, right? Okay. The trend is still higher high, higher low? Yes or no? Next
yes,
day,
sir.
did it break the high? It did not. Okay. And did it go above like 36.63? It did not, right? Did it go below the low?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, is it a lower high, lower low?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did it close below the low of yesterday? The answer is no. Okay.
Not, sir.
It did not. Okay, fine. And the open interest has further reduced. Okay. So it is not that a huge deal of selling has happened. So no problems. Okay. Next day, if it goes above 36.45, I will still try to short this, right? Because the trend has changed to downwards, correct? Right? But it didn't happen, which is okay. Now, next day also, is it a lower high, lower low, lower
Yes,
high,
sir.
lower low? And where is the closing happening? The closing is happening at 35.79. Is it lower than this low?
Yes, sir.
And did the selling increase?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it is getting into a trend, right? Did
Yes.
it fall the next day? 35.86. It is opening. Did it fall? Yes? Okay. Yes, no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, it closed below 35.76, below the low, right? Correct? So it closed below the low. And is the selling more?
Sure.
Okay, so there seems to be another shorting opportunity, right? So it opens at around 34.88, which is below this low. Am I right? 30, 34.95 is here. Okay, and it is opening quite bearish, correct? Okay, but let's look at it. What should happen? It should fall, right?
Yes, sir.
Ideally, what is going on in our mind that if we get a higher price, it should fall, correct? Did it fall? Right? So it's still below this level. If you see, it went to whatever it is. Okay. Now, on this particular day, do you see that the open interest has reduced? So there is some buying, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if there is some buying, uh, 35.14, it is not above 35.86, right? Correct? So it is not above 35.86, so it is not getting into any sort of a trend, correct? Now, let's look at the next day, but yeah, it should make a higher high. That is what comes to our mind. Yes or no? Hmm? And did it make a higher high, higher low? And did it close above 35.44 is the closing. So did it close above 35.32?
Sir.
And when it did that, did the selling reduce?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, on the next day, it means it should go up.
Yes, sir.
Did it go up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, first try to just see the trend. Okay, then where to enter, not to enter, we'll see. But are you able to understand the trend at least? Okay. Now, on this day, it again closed above the high, right? When this happened, did the selling reduce? Yes, the selling reduced. Correct? Right? Now, it should break the high and go up. Yes, that
Yes, sir.
that is what comes to our mind, right? Did it happen? 36.20, 36.10. It did not, right? Did it make a lower low, lower high and a lower low?
Yes, sir.
Selling increased slightly. Okay. Now, what comes to our mind? It should fall down, right? So it should come down from wherever. Now, if you look at it, did it close below the low? The answer is no. It didn't close below the low, so it's not getting into a trend, right? Okay, but it should form a lower high and a lower low, right? Did it form a lower low? It did not, and definitely it did not close below this. And the open interest has also increased, decreased, which means less of selling, correct? So if it is less of selling, means buying, right? So if it is buying, is it above 36.10? It is not. Okay, and is it a higher high, higher low? No. But what will come to our mind that next day it should try to form a higher high, higher low, correct? Higher high, higher low. Is it forming? No, it went very close, didn't work out. And by then the contract is almost over, right? Because now the rolling over would have started. If you will look at it, people would have exited out, right? Now, on 20th of January, when the contract started working out, that day I talked about this inventory data, right? Okay, so this is the inventory data, correct? So show more. Let's see if I'm able to go till, and this was February 2017. Let's see if the data is
Yes,
there.
sir.
June, May, April, March, February. When did the contract start? June? Sorry, January 20th, right?
Yes, sir.
So January 20th means January 19th there was an inventory. After that, during this contract, the first inventory happened on January 25th, correct?
Yes, sir.
So till January 25th, you'll do nothing in the current contract. Let the first inventory happen. And this inventory, 21st, okay. So January 25th. So January 25th is this one, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let the first inventory happen in crude. When the first inventory has happened, everything has rolled into this, right? And you can start trusting this, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, when this inventory happened, if I look at it, okay, on this particular date, um, the selling is more than previous day. So there are some more contracts which have been formed, correct? So when there are some more contracts have been formed, then it should make a lower low, lower high. So there's a lower low and a lower high, correct? And
Yes, sir.
it should close below this level of 3602, which it has not. But did the trend start? Is it a lower low, lower high? The trend on the downside have already started, correct? That is what is coming to our mind. Now, let's see. The next day after this inventory, okay, the next day, it's a higher high and a higher low, correct? This one. So it's a higher high, higher low, which has happened. Is the selling more? The answer is
Yes, sir.
yes. Okay. So let's look at the close price. How much is the close price?
608.
3608. Now 3608, is it above the high of yesterday?
No.
Okay. Now, did it go above the high? Did the price go above the high?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Correct. Did it form a resistance at around 3648? What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the
Yes.
resistance formation has happened. Got it? Now, if the resistance formation has happened, it should now start falling, right? It should now start getting into a trend. So there is a resistance formation at around 3648. Next day, it got very close to 3648. But see, there are dollar fluctuations also, right? So these small here and there will keep happening. You cannot control it in international commodities. But most likely, this is the what? This is the resistance area.
Yes, sir.
For me, it will be the resistance area unless it takes it out. Okay, fine, no problem. Now, the selling has increased and it didn't even make a low, right? Yet. Now, the very next day, did the selling further increase?
Yes, sir.
Did it make a lower low?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and did it break 3592 completely? The closing is
Yes, sir.
3581,
Below.
which is lower than 3592. So,
Yes, sir.
it is telling us that, okay, it has also gotten into a trend now, right? So it has also gotten into a trend now. Now, if it has gotten into a trend now, okay, what should happen now? What comes to your mind? It should start falling, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, from this area, okay, this is 3641, right? Okay, this is 3641 when the trend is also confirmed, all right? And let's see, this is where the resistance is, right? 3648, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
3648. Now look
Yes.
at it on this particular day when the price went above 3648. Was it able to sustain?
No, sir.
It fell. Okay. Just to train your eyes. All right. So it failed miserably and it started coming down. Okay. Now, unfortunately, we can't see the charts. So it might be that this 50 rupees was earned. Okay. Right. So don't worry about it. We will see all this in the current contracts and the upcoming contracts. Okay. Now, tell me. So over here, it has gotten into a trend already. It seems to be a downtrend. Correct. Now let's see. Uh, on this particular day, if you look at it, did it break the low 3565? Did it go below this?
No, sir.
It went below this, no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was it able to close?
No, sir.
It was not. Is this a support kind of? Because there was more of buying. This day there was more of selling, and this day there is more of buying. Is it matching your situation? Resistance is formed, support is formed. Agreed? Okay. I'm removing this color. So is there a support formation that seems to have happened on this particular day, right? So when it happened on this particular day, do you agree that it generated a support around 3565, right? Okay. So this is the resistance. Will you agree? And this is the support by reading of the data. So here is the support and here is the resistance. Do you agree? And it was formed on this day when it reversed back and it closed up, right? Correct? Okay. Yes or no, guys? Are you able to understand this formation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, on this day, do you see there is a closing below this level? Point number one.
Yes.
Okay. So one is here. And on this day, okay, I'm talking about after this is formed. Did it try going above this red value?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you see when it tried going above this red value, it failed? It came down, right? It tried going above this level, it failed. Correct? The same way, when it broke out this level, did it fall?
Yes.
Are we able to clearly see these two trades? Whatever direction, whatever price level, don't care. But are you able to understand that? Yes, yes, no, maybe. Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, so there was one trade which now on this particular thing is basically a break inside trade, right? So it is trying to go above 36.48. If it is returning and coming back below 46.38, then most likely it is going to fall, right? Okay. So if I look at it when this is happening, so maybe I got one trade over here, all right, which was a break inside. Now when this closed below 35.65, okay, the day it terribly closed below this, was there more selling?
Yes.
More contracts are added, right? So which means it's breaking down, correct? So if it is breaking
Yes.
down, there is another short trade which will happen.
Yes.
Okay. So if there is another short trade which can happen, okay, then we'll come to the levels and all, but it should fall.
Yes.
Okay. And if you look at it, it went down or whatever.
Yes.
Now let's see. After this thing has happened and it has closed and it is a breakdown. Okay, it is a break downwards. Okay, because it is below this 35.65 kind of a level. Okay. Uh, do you see it was very close to this? Okay, but let's not consider it. Okay. Uh, on this day 36.20, so it went inside the support. Okay. When it went inside the support, it closed at around 36.09. Next day, do you see that it came back below 36.65 again, right? So on this particular day, right, it closed pretty much inside the level, inside this particular level. So what was the likelihood that it should go to around 36.46, 36.48, 36.50 levels, correct? That is what should happen. Okay. Now, when it didn't happen around this level, do you will be able to spot maybe 36.20, 35.41. Okay, now let's see. Um, is it a higher high, higher low? Higher high, higher low, right? Lower low, lower high, lower low, correct? If it is lower high, lower low, okay, and it is below this level, see, and the selling has also increased more, can it be sold? Yes or no? Next day also, you can try to evaluate it to go short in it, right? Now tell me, whatever has happened, these are some intraday trading bids. Where is the final closing of the contract happening? Is it sideways, trending, or what? These were the two important levels, right? And I said that this is the most difficult example. Why? Because 3570 and the close is 3580, right? Yes or no? It's a 10 rupee range. Where is it closing? 3580. Where is it closing? Is it closing in between these two ranges, which was formed, right? So it is sideways, correct? So it has to either start trending on the downside or start trending on the upside in the next month, in the month of March, correct? March contract basically. So when does the March
Yes.
contract start? So this is February, March. So this is March. So it will start on 17th of February. Somewhere over here, right? And it will go
Yes.
till the end of March, say. So show data. Did I select correct? Oh, this is 18. March 17. March 17 is 20th, 17. So it starts on 18th of February. So basically it is 20th of February. So this is the data, right? And the closing was sideways, we know that, right? From the analysis of previous month. So let it open. So this is what it is. So this is the data. I'll just try to first reverse the data so that it is in the correct order. So 20th of February all the way to 20th of March. Okay. Now let's try and look at when did the inventory happen in the March contract. So February 23rd, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So the first inventory happened on February 23rd, which is this day. Agreed? So on this day, the first contract, the first inventory of this contract happened. Okay. Now, if the inventory of this contract has happened, on this day we see it is reduced. So more buying has happened, right? So covering of the contracts have happened. So it should be making a higher high, higher low. Is it? Compared to the previous
Yes.
day, is it? Okay. And did it close above this? The answer is no. Right? The answer is no. It didn't close above it.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. So if it didn't close above it, did it go above it? Yes. So do you think there is a resistance which have been created around 36.22? Right? Because it went above it and could not close and it came down. But the problem is that it is with lower selling. So I cannot trust this one. Is it? Right? And let's see. So it was a higher high, so no problem. So we'll just keep the data for the time being as red. Okay. Now next day, what is happening? What's going on? On the next day, is the selling more or buying more? The buying is more, right? Marginally, we see that it is less than this data, right? So the buying is more. When the buying is more, it should be a higher high, higher low, right? But is it in the
Yes.
opposite direction? Is it in the opposite direction?
Yes.
It's making a lower low, lower high. Okay. And did it come below 36.13? It did, right? Is it closing below this? The answer is no.
No.
right? And we know it is with lower this thing. So can I say that it is trying to build a support around 3613?
Yes.
Okay. And this data I can trust because the data is also matching. Open interest data is also matching, right? So
Yes.
let's see. So 3613 is the kind of support. Okay. And it didn't close. And we got to know about it on this day, right? On this particular day, we got to know about it that, okay, this is a support. The next day, let's see, it is opening, it is wherever it is opening, whatever it is doing, it is closing above this, right? Okay. Now let's see on this day, did it go above this level? And did it close above 3627?
No, sir.
No. It came back down, right? And on this day, is there more selling?
Yes, sir.
Can I now mark this as a resistance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
26, 27.
Okay, so I'm removing this color so that we are not confused. So this is the resistance 3627 and this is the support it seems to be, right? And everything is now done by this day, correct? So on this particular day, we got to know about all these artifacts. So I know now with the degree of confidence that this should be the resistance and this should be the support. Now the next day, did it try going above 3627?
Sir.
Hmm? It did, right? Rather, it opened above it, right? And it failed 3566, correct? And not only failed, is this close lower than 3613?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, if that is the case, is it with more selling? Let's see. Yes, it is. It is with more selling, right? Because the open interest has increased. Now, if it is with more selling, it means it is trying to break this support, right? It is actually trying to break this support. Now, on the next day, the open price is about 3580. Okay, and it started moving up. And when it started moving up, it again failed around the resistance, right? 3627, correct? It went above this level and it came down and it closed. But it went above 3613, is it? Answer is no. Okay. Now, if you utilize the same thing that we talked about, okay, do you see that after this low volatile day or low volatile month, the trend established was by breaking the support line, correct? And this month, was there a movement of approximately 500 rupees, 400 rupees or so? Just by looking at it. Hi, Anna. Hmm? Okay. So, can we say that perhaps this month would have been a much more profitable month on the short side, comparatively?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's see. So, on this particular day, there was a breakdown, right? With a heavy selling volume. Okay, and we know that 3613 is a kind of resistance. Now, on this particular day, do you see that it tried getting inside this level 3613? Okay, it in fact went up to 3627, and from there it miserably failed, and it again came back and it closed below the low, right?
Yes.
And when this happened, okay, after that, if we look at it, so it formed a higher high, higher low on this day, okay, and on the very next day, did it form a lower low, lower high, lower low? So it again started getting into a trend, right?
Yes, sir.
When it got into a trend, okay, this time again it's a selling, okay. So when it got into a trend, so this 8580, if you look at this 8580, did it try going above this and came back and closed below this?
Yes, sir.
So
35.
if I mark this as red, will it be wrong? That this became the resistance now. 3580, because it on this day it opened above 3595 and it straight away broke 3580 and it closed below. So it broke this, right? Like this.
Yes, sir.
So it was a complete breakdown over here. Now, when this particular thing happened on this particular day, so this 8580 level is also becoming a stiff, what you call resistance, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On this day, it again hits here, falls down, right? So eventually, if you look at it, when this when the low becomes a resistance, okay, now the high can always become a resistance, correct? But when the low starts becoming a resistance, then there is a very little chance, no, that what you call there would be it will be able to break this out and close above this, right? If you look at it, there was no closing which happened above 3580, because over here, if I look at it, okay, over here, right? Now let's see, when this support was created and it broke down, right? It is a complete breakdown. Okay, let us look at this particular data, which is 3629, right? So look at this day. Did it open above this low?
Alright.
3629,
Yes, sir.
right? It opened above this low, right? It opened
Yes.
above the low and it straight away it was breaking this, right? See, it straight away broke this and it closed down. When this happened, did if you look at it, did any of the days closed above 3613? The answer is no. Okay, because it's a very important pattern. It happens in equities also. Okay. See, on this day, it opened above this level, this low, right? So if it opened above this level, it will go towards the resistance, right? It will try to break out 3627. Correct? It tried breaking 3627, right? Maybe you took a short position over there or whatever, but when it went above 3627, from there it straight away came down and it went to 3566, right? A 50 rupee trade, more than 50 rupee trade, done, over. Okay, so if you do it with one lot, say of mini, okay, where you take a stop loss of 20 rupees, which means that 200 rupees loss, and if you gain, you will gain what? How much? 500 rupees
500.
minimum, 50 rupees. Okay, So the loss is 200. So the risk is 200 and the profit is 500, right? If you are working with that, this thing, you can also make it 1:3. There's no problem. You can make it 20 rupees stop loss and 60 rupees this thing. Because if you are working with so many this thing, it should work out. Like there's nothing that should not work out. Okay. So 200 rupees risk, 600 rupees profit. Does it work out? Did it work out? By just reading the report. It is opening above, right? Correct? It is opening above this level, this level. It is breaking it down on the downside miserably. It is falling. Okay, so what is it telling you? Is it not even a like a bearish engulfing also, right? So it is completely falling like this. It is going down. Now, when it is going down, okay, it broke this 3613 level on this day, right? So 3613 level was completely compromised, the support level that you had already seen. So this is broken. Now, after this is broken, where is the next support level which is formed? Okay, the next support level which is formed is at 35, say 80. Okay, this particular day, after this breaks down, there is nothing that can reverse it back, right? Okay, and this happens in an uptrend. This also happens in a downtrend. Okay, now while you are reading the data, what are the most important things that we learned?
Open interest.
Okay, so one data is this, like we have deliverable quantities, right? So one data is this. We don't much look at volumes over here, okay? In the because this is a future contract data, so volume doesn't play much of role. So open interest data, and we look at the vitals, right? And within the vitals, the high, low, and close. Open is also not very important for us, okay? But the high and the low, okay? And please remember there would be a slight fluctuation. Okay, it cannot be like the cash market very clean levels. Okay, because over here there I told you that there is influence, right? There's influence of what all? International market, because the international market is rolling, and the second is that the USD to INR fluctuation is also there. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions on reading reports?
Will you repeat once?
I'm sorry.
Will you repeat
Uh,
fresh example? Reading.
I'm sorry. Uday, you'll have to say that again. Repeat.
This reading data, will you give
Okay.
a fresh example, sir?
Some more examples? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No problem. Just give me then 5 minutes. Okay. Let me take the next month
Okay.
data again, and let's do it. Okay. No issues.
Okay.
Just give me 5 minutes, 8:45 around. Okay. We'll restart.
Okay. Okay.
All right, I'm back. Okay, are you guys back?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Consider there is a high of a day, okay, and consider there is a low of a day, okay. These are the two lines. On any
Yes.
specific day, there would be a high, there would be a low, right? Now, if on any day in the futures data, if you see that the price goes above the high and it finally closes below, it means it forms something like this, okay. So it it goes like this and it comes like this, okay. Can you consider this to be a resistance formation? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a resistance formation. Now, if this resistance formation is supported by increase
I in open interest.
in the open interest, then you can consider this to be a strong resistance. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So this resistance gets stronger. Okay. Right? The same way, this is the low, right? Of any day. If the price goes like this and it returns back like this, okay,
Next day, price
next day,
movement, sir.
so it goes, yeah, next day it goes down and it comes back up, okay. Can you
Yes.
consider this to be a support?
The higher open interest.
Right. So if this is a support and is supported by a decrease in
Decrease.
open interest, decrease in open interest, and I told you the reason, hedging is the reason, huh?
Yes.
If that is the case, can you consider this to be a lot stronger support?
Yes.
So this concept is clear.
Here, straight line is yesterday's high low.
Huh. So these lines are yesterday's high and low. Okay. So on a given day, on any day, if the price goes below this and comes back with a decrease in open interest, you can consider this to be a support, a stronger support. The same way,
Yes.
if the price goes up and comes down on the next day, which means it breaks the high and it returns back. Okay. And it is with increase in open interest, you can consider this to be a strong resistance. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So this level will become a support and this level will become a resistance. Okay. So this will first happen. Now see, when you are trading in contracts, in derivatives, derivatives are traded for a month, 2 months, or 3 months, right? So the trends would be established for a longer duration of time. Okay. All right. Now tell me,
Yes.
in the beginning of the month or the beginning of the contract, okay, say something like this happens, okay, and say for example, it forms a resistance, okay. So there is a resistance and there is a support, right? It will form a resistance, it will form a support. That is how stocks or commodities will move, right? Now let's say with the same concept, if the next resistance during this contract is formed below the support line, Do you think it is bearish?
Yes.
Okay, because what should happen? The resistance should be above, right? But after this formation, the next formation, if the resistance is below the support line, it is bearish.
Yes.
Agreed? So this is a in that case it is a
करंट
hmm,
करंट मंथ में ही या नेक्स्ट मंथ के लिए अप्लाई एप्लीकेबल
नहीं,
है?
जो भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, अगर 3 महीने का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ट्रेड कर रहे हो तो उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में होगा। पर एक चीज का आपको ध्यान रखना है, ज्यादा फार एंड का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जब आप ट्रेड करने लगते हैं तो उसमें लिक्विडिटीज कम होती है, इसको आपको ध्यान रखना है। ये फॉर्मेशंस इतने आसानी से नहीं होंगे उनमें, ठीक है? तो आपको करंट मंथ में इसे
नहीं
ढूंढना है,
जैसे ओके
आपको करंट मंथ में इसे ढूंढना है। बेस्ट ट्रेड होता है जो अभी का जो लाइव कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है उसमें ट्रेड होना, ठीक है? ओके, अब इसी तरह से द सेम वे, ओके, if the next support line is created above the resistance level, okay, the next support line is created above the resistance level, do you think it is a bullish trend?
Yes.
So are you able to understand the difference? Okay, so this will be bullish. Okay, so most likely if this is happening, it is a bearish breakout, so the price should not return back. That is what we will expect. And in this case, it is a bullish trend, which means that the price should not return back. Okay, so this should be the trading direction in this case, and this should be the trading direction in this particular case. Okay, this is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's open up a contract of say crude, let's say, now let's come to 2018. Okay, and let's say let's take July contract. Okay, July, August, September. Okay, so let's look at the July contract. So if I'm looking at the July contract, if I'm looking at the July contract, this is the July contract. I'm sorry, 2018. '14, '17, '18. Okay, so say this is the July contract. So 19th of July. So this contract started from 20th of June. Okay, so what I'll do is I will start from 20th of June. The contracts came into real power, and we'll take it till the end of the contract. Okay, so say for example this will be till say end of July, whatever is the date, it will automatically pick up. Okay, so this is the data, right? July 2018, and the contract is 19 July 2018. So let's download this. Okay, so let's open it now. So so this is the data, right? Now let me put a filter and reverse the data. Okay, so 20th of June onwards, this contract started working. Now 20th of June 2018. So first let's look at one of the important days. So let's look at June 20th was a inventory, yes or no? So there was an inventory day on June
Yes.
20th. Okay, so if there was an inventory day on June 20th, this can be treated as an important start date, right? Okay, now on this particular date, on this particular day, there was some sort of an open interest, right? Now, since it is the first day, we don't have a reference date to it. Okay. Next day, let's look at it. Did the open interest reduce?
So,
And if it has reduced, most likely it should make a higher high, higher low, but it didn't do it. Correct?
yes.
Okay. So did it break the low?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It broke the low, and did it close below the low?
No, sir.
Okay. Now it went above the low and it closed, right? Now when it went above
Yes.
the low and it closed, it is with lower open interest, right? Reducing open interest. Correct?
Yes. Yes. Support.
So support. So let me mark this as green, right? So this is support. I'm just say removing this section so that we have more space. Okay. So
Yes.
this is support, right? Now let's see, on this day, the open interest has increased, right? So more selling has happened, right?
Yes.
So if
Yes.
more
Yes.
selling has happened, it should form a lower low, lower high, right?
Yes.
On this day, did it break out this high?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did it close above the high?
No, sir.
This
Yes,
is the
sir.
high. It closed above the high,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
fine, but it is not matching our criteria to identify a resistance, because support I have got, I have still not got the resistance, right? Now
Yes.
let's see. Uh, the next day, it is doing what? It is reducing, right? So if it is
Yes.
reducing, it will form a support actually. Okay, so
Yes.
a higher high, higher low formation should happen. So did it happen? Yes, it happened. It formed a higher high and a higher
Higher.
low compared to
Yes.
yesterday. Correct?
Yes.
All right. So fine, that is supposed to be happening. Now on this day there is selling, right? Now if
Yes.
there is
Yes.
selling, it should be lower low, lower high.
Yes.
Did it break the high of yesterday? Yes, it broke the high
Yes.
of yesterday.
Yes.
If you look at it, okay, no problems. Uh, Again, selling increased. When selling increased, it went above this and it closed above this, right?
Yes.
No problem. Selling reduced. When it reduced, let's see, yeah. So 5046, it went to 5100 09, whatever. Okay, 5100 09. And did it close above it? It did. Correct? Right? Now, on this day, the selling has increased. So it should form a lower low, lower high.
Yes.
Okay. Did it form a lower low? Sorry, lower high? Yes, it did. Did it form a lower low? It did not. Okay. Now tell me something. It it formed an inside candle actually on this day. Actually, it
Yes.
formed an inside candle. Okay. Now on
Yes.
the next day, the selling has again increased. Does this high go above this?
Yes.
And did it close? Yes, it closed. So nothing could be done. Okay. Now this is 2151. So it should be a support day, right? Less selling. So is the high above this? Yes, it is. Right. And is the close above this? The answer is no.
No.
Is there a resistance over here? I'm sorry. Yeah. 5118. Is this the resistance? The answer is yes. Correct? Have you understood this?
No, sir.
Okay. So here is the resistance and here is the support. Correct? And half of the month is already gone, right? Do you see it's a very big range? It's a 600 rupees range, right? Correct?
Yes.
So now either it creates a support above this or it creates a resistance below 4430. Now, just looking at the data, does it seem possible because it's already a 600, 700 rupees move, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when this kind of a thing happens, the first thing that comes to the mind that it might be a break inside. Okay. It might not be able to close above 5118 in this month. Okay. And it will try and close somewhere in between this level and this level. Because it's already a 600, 700 rupees move, right? Okay. No problem. Now, if I look at it, this is the day when the artifact is established, right? On this day only, the artifact is established, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when this happened, did it happen with the greater selling?
Yes, sir.
It did not, right? It didn't happen with the higher selling, right? On the next day, the selling has increased, right? On this day, the selling has increased. Okay. Now, when on this day the selling has increased, did it go above the high? No, it didn't go above the high. Okay. But did it go above this high? 5118?
Yes.
Okay. But is the close below it? The
Yes.
answer is no.
No, sir. No.
Okay. Now the next day is the selling reducing.
Yes.
Okay. So it should formulate a support. Okay.
Yes.
So this is a resistance, no doubt, but I am not able to trust it just because on this day the open interest did not increase, right? So that is the reason. Okay. So let me not make it bold. I'm just marking it here. Now on this day the open interest has reduced. If I look at it. Now when the open
Yes.
interest has reduced here, okay, uh, it should break out the high, right? So it broke out the
Yes.
high, right?
Yes. Yes.
And on this day, do you see it went below the low
Yes.
and it closed above?
No, sir. Bill.
Yes, it did not, right? So it did not close above it. All right, no problems. The next day, the selling has increased.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when the selling has increased, did it go above the high?
No.
It did not, right? So it did not go above the high. Did it go below the low? Yes, the answer is yes. It went below the low and did it close above? Okay, but this is with great amount of selling.
Yes.
Okay. On this day, the open interest has reduced, so the price should go up. Did the price go up? The answer is yes, the price went up.
Yes.
Okay. So the price went up, and where did it close? It closed below this level, right? So is this the resistance? We take this as the resistance because on this day is the open interest increasing?
Yes.
No. So it cannot be done, right? Next day, the price goes to this thing and it goes with heavy selling, and the price goes above this level, right? And it comes and
Yes.
closes at 5071. So is this a resistance?
No, sir.
It's with heavy selling, huh? The high is higher, the high is higher, and the close is lower than the high of yesterday.
Yes, sir. Resistance.
Okay, and the open interest has increased.
More.
correct? So the
Interest.
interest is more. So if that is the case, can I mark this with the confidence that yes, this could be a resistance, right?
Yes.
Fine. So if that is the case, I will increase the font and will make it bold, and I can remove this, right? No, not required.
Yes.
So here is the support, here is the resistance. Now tell me, uh, it is almost 700 rupees, right? Okay. And the artifact is established on this day, 10th of July. Okay. So let's start looking at it from this day. Now, if the price starts going above this level, okay, it will start to fail. That is what comes to our mind.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If it has to be a break inside, the price, if tries to go above 5098, it will try to come and fall below. Okay. Now on the next day, we saw that okay, the price didn't go to 5098. Okay, no problem. Did the selling reduce? Yes, it reduced. So did it make a higher high, higher low? No, it did not. Okay. The next day again the selling reduced, higher high, higher low. No, it is not. Selling further reduced, higher high, higher low. The answer is yes. Right. So it is making a higher high and a higher low over here. Okay, fine. Now let's see. So did it break the low? No, it did not. Now the next day when the further reduction has happened by the time the contract is over. Okay, now did the selling increase? Did the selling reduce? Yes, it did. Did it go below the low? The answer is yes. Did it close above the high, above the low? The answer is no. So we cannot treat this as a support, right? So
Okay.
this is a break in support. Okay. And next day again, it increased. It reduced open interest. So did it go below the low? The answer is yes. Did it come back and close above the low? The answer is again what? Yes. So it is forming a support at 4631. Okay. Now, when it formed a support, so this is with lower this thing, and it went below this and it closed above this. So this can be marked as a support and something like this, correct? So this support is higher than this support, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So this support is actually higher than this support. Okay. So if this support is higher than this support, the trend is no doubt up. The trend ideally is no doubt, but on the upside. Okay. So what will I expect? Now I will expect that most likely the closing of this contract should happen above this 4631 level because it has formed a new support line just a few days before the contract closing. Okay. Now, if that is the case, okay, if that is the case, now this if you look at it, it opened at around 4654. Okay. Now see, it is opening above this level, right? On this day, the price is above. Did it go below 3631? 4631.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it went below 3641. Now I'm trying to do a break inside kinds, right? So if it went below 4631, what is the likelihood? It should come back and close above, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. It closed above, no doubt. Okay. Now the next day, it is again opening above 46.29. 46.30. It is closing. It is opening below 46.29. Correct. Now, on this particular day, did it break out the support like this? It opened below and it broke it out with a lower contract number of contracts, right? Like this. Yes or no? Like this. Up on the upside. Okay. When it broke out on the upside, do you see that the very next day, okay, it again tried breaking out the high and making a new high at around say 100 rupees above?
Yes.
Okay. So something of this sort happened, right? Now, during this entire month, now these months are, okay. See, 300 rupees volatility or say a 400 because 10% of the contract value. Volatility is very normal in crude. You can expect this. So don't worry about it. Okay, so about 400 rupees if it is running at around 5,000 rupees. So 5,000 rupees volatility can come. If it is, if the price is 3,000 rupees, so 300 rupees volatility can happen. Movement can happen either side. So it is very much possible. Okay. So from that perspective, okay, this 400 rupees or 500 rupees movement is normal. It's fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Now, tell me something. Are you at least able to spot the support and resistance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there is no problem, right? This you can replicate now.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in the next class, what I am going to teach you is that when you are reading the report, this particular report, within the report also, you will find some breakpoints. Okay. Now, say for example, I'll just give you an example, just leave it to you. Please practice the support and resistance formation with the reports. Okay. I'm going to teach you further, okay, on this report, on the breakpoints. Now, say for example, this day the value, the contracts reduced, right?
Yes.
Now, when the contracts reduced, did it fall down?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it went down and it went up. That is why you have marked it as a support line, correct? Okay. Now this day the contracts, the number of contracts increased, so it was selling, right?
Yes.
So when it was selling, now see, let's see. When it was selling, most likely it should form a lower high, lower low by the fundamental of
Yes.
it. Rather, it formed a higher high, higher low.
Yes.
Okay. So did it break out this level 4504?
Yes.
Okay. So it actually closed above 4504 and it
Yes.
actually broke out, and the number of contracts are also very high. So there is some sort of a selling which has happened.
Yes.
Okay. Now when this has happened, this is the level 4504 is one level. Okay. And when it broke out, when so this is the level which was broken out. Okay. So this was the level which was broken out. So this is a very, very important level for us because it is happening with the wrong open interest. It is a divergence actually. It is a divergence. It should form a lower low, lower high, but it is forming a higher high, higher low, and it is also breaking above the high, right? So it's a divergence for us. Now on the next day it is buying. So if it is buying, then the thing should go up, right? So there is no problem if it is breaking 46.80. Then there is no problem, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now on this day, it is forming a higher high, higher low, so there is no problems. Now on the next day, is the selling increasing? It has increased, right?
Yes.
So it should not break out the high, right?
Yes.
So 47.36, so it made a high, and the close is 48.15. Is it again breaking out?
Yes.
So this is again a divergence.
Yes.
So if it is a divergence, then this 48.37 is also a level, important level, because it's a divergence level. Now let's see. Next day it is opening above 48.44. So it is opening above the high, right? Okay. Did it come and touch? The answer is no. Okay. Next day, is there more selling?
Yes.
And is the price kind of breaking this out? Sorry.
Yes.
No, sorry. There is less selling. Okay.
Yeah.
There is less selling here. And is the price breaking out this 5046? The answer is yes. It can do. There is no problem. Okay. Now, again on a divergence day, okay, like it should form a lower low, lower high. So, yes, it formed this, but there is no lower low. The selling is high, but there is no this thing. So, this is an inside candle, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is a complete inside candle, and everything is running on divergence, correct?
Yes.
Everything is running on divergence right now. So, 5105 and the high below just before this is this one, and the low just below before this is this one, right? So everything is trying to go up, right? Everything is trying to go up. Okay,
Yes, sir.
now let's see what's going on at this level. So 5109, when it went above 5118, did it close above this? So yes, it closed above this, so there is nothing important. Now again it went above 5109. Did it close below this? The inside, there is an inside candle here. Did it close below the high of the previous day? The answer is yes. It means it is rejecting this level, right? 5109 is getting rejected. I can also take this as a important level. Okay, we will do a lot of practice on this, okay, on reports. This is identical in case of equities also, okay. So it, on this day, see, it went above 5109 and it closed above, right? So there is no importance. Again, did it come below the 5109 from above this level? The answer is yes. See, it closed at 5080. So there was a fall. So was this formed as a resistance, right? The answer is yes. Was there more selling? Okay. Now, if this is the case, this is the resistance, this should form as a support. 4981, correct? So this is a resistance, then this should be a support. Now, on this particular day, you got to know that this is a resistance, yes or no? When it closed below this. On this day, is it going above 5009? $5109, correct? It's going above this, correct? Okay. Now, if that is the case, now it is going above this, is it returning back? The answer is no. Okay. So, do you see here that when it went to 4981 at this place, which is the support line, over here, 4971 at this place. Okay. On this particular, after this particular day, from here, it tried moving upside, correct? When it tried moving upside, okay, it went all the way to 7109 or above that, and then again started coming down. Okay, so these inside candles in crude also have a lot of importance. Fine. So this I will cover in the next class. Okay. Right now, just look at all these reports and start spotting where is the high and where is the low. Low means where is the support and where is the resistance. Clear? Inside candle I will take in the next class. I will explain you all this. Fine. So, so our next PTMP class will be on Tuesday, okay? On 25th.
Yes.
Okay, and tomorrow there is no class. All right, so 24th we'll have an ITA class at the same time. All right, friends, so thank you and see you on Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.